Hey, what's up, social media family? It's Chris, your favorite host, your favorite coach, everything that's favorite. And if you don't have a favorite yet, I could be that. So this is a blast from the past today. I have with me Stefania Mogollon from South America, from Venezuela. And I've known this young lady for a very long time. And, we do these conversations with Chris where I talk to interesting people that have a story to share, business owners, entrepreneurs, and the such. So we're here with Stefania. She's going to share a little bit about her story, the magic that she's producing in the world, and we're here to answer your questions live. So yeah, round of applause. Yay, Stefania. So a long journey. So we met years ago in New York, and you kind of migrated from, I remember, Venezuela to New York, and it wasn't too long ago, maybe going back probably 7-8 years, just kind of sitting in our little office in Queens, and you had dreams of starting this wonderful business here, and here you are, full circle, all the way to Miami. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, honestly, I'm super happy to be here with you because I will say that you are the first step person interaction I had in my real estate career. And it was you that convinced me to start in that office that we were back 8 years ago. And it's amazing. Honestly, it's a full circle seeing how both of our careers have progressed, and both from New York now in the lovely state of Florida, but still loving the big city. Happy here.
Yeah.
Happy to visit. But yeah, you said it. I'm originally from Venezuela, born and raised in Venezuela. I went to college, high school, everything in Venezuela. So if you hear my accent, I'm very much Latina, 100%. I moved to New York to learn English. That's my real story. English was terrible for me, and I went there. Things got super complicated in my country, and I said, you know what? Let me figure this city out. And in the middle of everything, it's so funny because you come to this beautiful country, but specifically New York, and you think to go out there and go and get an apartment. And I hit the big wall of renting an apartment in New York City. It's insane. Unless you, like, at that moment, I was broke. So I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the paperwork. And I bump into different colleagues or professionals like realtors that honestly, they did not provide me a good service. They didn't even try to explain me how to do it or what would I need. It was just like, oh no, we can't deal with you, goodbye. And I was like, what's happening? Sorry about that.
No
What's happening? And then it's like, oh, I've been in the service industry since I recall, since my first job. I love interacting with people, and most of all, I love helping people. So I felt helpless in that moment, and I'm like, okay, I'm going through this and I'm learning. How about I teach others? How about I help other people, even if they don't qualify now for buying or renting? Let me help them, like, step by step, how to get there. And that's when I decided to get my real estate license. And from there, I interviewed different companies, and then I bump into you in that previous brokerage, and you convinced me to stay there. And honestly, I can say it was the key point in my career, having started in that brokerage with the people that was there, including yourself, because I don't know the percentage, but it's more than 80% of the realtors that start in the industry fail within the first 3 or 5 years. So if you start bad, trust me, I don't think you are going to be successful. So I was lucky enough to be in the right environment with the right coaching, with the right mentorship, to really start the career with the right foot. Is not easy. As much mentorship that you have is not easy, but having the good guidelines. And to this day, some people that I interact with, they say, oh my God, you have such a good work ethic. I'm like, yeah, because I started with the right people. So,
I'm glad I didn't scare you away, because it's not easy, right? And you're absolutely right. There is a high failure rate, and I think the tenacity, just what it took for you to come from South America and migrate here and make it happen. And it wasn't an easy road for you in the beginning, but I mean, for sure, you had all the ingredients and all the tenacity, and I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't give up. And I think, like so many of us, you were just like you. I was inspired by the lack of professionalism in the industry. Of wait a second, isn't there? Yeah, I mean, aren't there good real estate agents out there? People that are service driven and want to provide value. So, what is? I mean, tell us a little bit more about what made you say. I mean, it was you had not so great experiences, but then you were like, you saw a hole in the business. You saw a void that needed to be filled. And I mean, what were some of those things that made you want to kind of get into the business?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer that, but I would like to address this first. I think there are a lot of great realtors out there, amazing, super hardworking. Our job is not easy. It's taken for granted by several people in social media. Oh, it's so easy. You show a house, you make a commission. It's not like that. And there is a lot of realtors that I have the pleasure to work with and see in action that are very, very professional. Unfortunately, in that moment in my life, I bump into the not good ones. And of course, always the not good professionals or not good news or not good anything in the world always make more noise than the good ones. So I do believe that we are so many that do the right thing, but luckily I bump into the wrong ones because that was my motivation to tap into the hole that you're talking about. Because don't discard anybody. You know, they discarded me like these other professionals, like, oh, it's a waste of time, or
Mm,
you never know. We're seeing it right now. This is a full circle. So every person that you interact with, whether it's ready or not, whether it's ready now or in 5 years, it's a human being that needs your help. And as a professional, guide them as much as you can, because of course we don't get paid in an hourly rate, but you know, being a good person doesn't cost you anything. So
mm,
I saw that whole I can also say in Venezuela, my hometown, I take pride in how hardworking we are and the customer service that we provide. And it's been seen in other countries now because we're migrating to many other countries. And people notice that our customer service and
mm,
professionalism, it's
mm,
really good. It's built into our culture. So I think it was the right
mm,
combination of a struggle of me getting an apartment and dealing with people that didn't want to help me,
mm.
and my drive and wanting to help and the background that I have. So why not tap into that?
Sure. So it was kind of like, yeah, it's ingrained in your culture, which I think there are some cultures that are just like cultures, servant based cultures, and that you have that desire to serve. So it's kind of ingrained in you. But you said being a good person doesn't cost you anything. Why is it so difficult for some people just to be good people? But I think the real good people, it's kind of effortless. It just it kind of flows from you. Did you feel like? What did you feel like? Did you feel like you had to adjust yourself to get into the real estate business, or you felt like, hey, I'm going to occur just the way I am, and the real estate business is meant for me, and I'm meant for it, and I'm going to bring everything I have, all my ingredients to the table? I mean, how was that transition for you?
Well, it was very interesting, and I'm glad you're asking that because my transition, okay, was interesting, and my transformation was one of the key factors of me
Mm,
running away from New York, because I came with, and I'm gonna speak bluntly,
that's what we
I
do. That's
went
what we
to
do
the
here.
industry with such a good spirit. Let's do
Mm,
this. I'm a hard worker. I'm gonna do it. But then I realized that New York City, it's tough, really tough, right? And as much as of a good person that you want to be and trying to deal with situations, when you bump into people that try to do sneaky things, that try to do things under the table, that try to screw you, that try to go and knock on the door of your client to steal your client, you cannot be nice anymore.
yeah, it's
So
particularly
I
Queens. Now you're working Queens and Manhattan real estate, right? Was it?
mainly Queens and Long Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, these situations tap into an area that you don't want to develop in your personality.
Hmm.
Like, trying to figure, like, you become so extra aware of who's gonna hurt you in the business, and that's not nice. That's overwhelming. That it's draining. And I think in Queens in particular, because also New York City, it's divided in so many ways. The real estate in Manhattan, it's handled so differently from
Mhm.
Brooklyn, and Brooklyn so different from Queens.
Yeah.
I'm talking from Queens, New York, Long Island. It's very, it's a wild west in,
Yeah.
specifically in Queens, because wow, the things that you have to deal with there.
Mm.
And I hit a point where I came into this industry being someone, and I'm becoming someone else,
Yeah.
like feeling not nice, not happy about the business, because every time I wake up in the morning and go to the office, it's a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I remember when I was in real estate sales, and I just people, somebody once came to me and said, Chris, you're so talented. If you were a little bit more greedy, a little bit more shrewd, and a little bit more hard, you'd be so mad. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that. And I understand how you feel by kind of starting to see you becoming somebody that you don't want to be. I got to tell you, it's like a breath of fresh air sometimes in Florida, because the clients I have that are in Florida, the challenges that they have, I'm like, you should see what we dealt with in Queens. And it is a bit tough. And maybe that's why we started working together to begin with, because I know that's not the way that I wanted to lead an office the same way. So now you're down here in Florida, living a dream. You're doing luxury real estate. You pop up on all my social media, right? So LinkedIn, I see you. Instagram, I see you. You're everywhere. It's almost like I'm like, man, Stefania's got a video crew following her around. So tell us a little bit about the strategies that you're using, that you've used and are using to build your business, promote your brand, and all that.
Yeah, I mean, social media is another full-time job, and if you don't have the right support and the right knowledge, honestly, it's gonna take you a while, and that's where mentors come into place. I am a big believer in leverage and mentorship. If you don't know, find somebody that knows it. Don't waste time trying to figure it out. Find somebody that knows it better than you, and pay, like, do what you know best, which
Mhm.
is your profession. In my case, real estate agent. I'm just gonna go and sell houses. But luckily, I've been very aware of all the social media, how that works, the filming. You have to have time, and you have to tap into social media,
Ah,
because there is no other way. I did the other way, like door knocking, like going door by door, cold calling, and I still believe those work, but you have so many hours in a day, and with social media, you have to do it. It's not a matter of, oh, will it work? No, 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 no. This is in the past. 10 years ago, you should have started.
yeah.
So basically, my strategy for everybody that's watching, I this is a whole topic. You have to start with the questions that your clients ask you today. Whatever you do in your industry, what is the most common question that you get asked? Because social media is a value. You want to add value to people. You want to show them and explain to them and provide information, right? So I also mix it up a little bit, providing value, doing house tours. But I
Mm.
think a good way to start in social media is providing value and information that you get asked on the everyday basis,
Mm.
and connect with people. People really react to genuine content. And listen, how to buy a house? Well, step one, step two, step three.
Yeah.
Let me help you
Mhm.
with everything else. But if you want to start with me or without me, these are the steps. People have to do it.
Mm.
People have to do it. I know how to do everything, in the sense of, I know how to film. I have a gimbal, I have a camera. I do most of my content with my cell phone because it's very practical. But I also took the time to learn how to edit. I have somebody that helps me edit and manage my social media and all of that. But at the end of the day, I'm the one that films, that get dressed, that looks the location, looks for the content, and do all of that. You can hire and do leverage, but you also have to be very involved. And honestly, I just count these hours as I will count my hours for cold calling or door knocking, because it's the same exact thing.
Yeah. It's, you said a couple important things. I think you know how to do everything. And I mean, I'm a coach and an instructor. So, and I always tell people, now that you know how to do this, you can either decide to do it yourself, hire someone to do it, or you're not going to do it at all. So you learned how to do everything yourself. You're shooting and everything. Then you figured, you know what? I'm a believer in leverage. I'm going to hire somebody to kind of do the editing and the posting for me. And you find that's going to be the best use of your time, but you know how to do it all.
Yeah, I do know how to do it all. I love social media, and I think it's important for you to know, even if you hire somebody, you need to know what you're doing. You cannot be that clueless. And some people blame it into age. Oh, I'm too old for that. You're not. You can read, you can see, you can type, you can press record button. Like, if you have excuses, that's it. Like, the problem is not the social media or the camera or the settings. The problem is the excuses.
Yeah. Yeah. You
And
can have reasons and
everything.
results. You can't have both, right? You just go and do it, right? That's why I like to go live, because too many times we make videos and then we're like, I'm never going to post this. I don't like the way I look or sound. And I'm like, do a
Yeah.
live video. That'll take you to the next level.
Yeah, I go in Instagram with super like dress up, like selling sunset. And I go on Instagram with no makeup and the hair just like this, because that's who I am. I'm not, I wish I woke up in the morning all glam. I'm not. And people relate to that.
Yes.
By the way, something to talking about excuses. Everything that I learned it myself watching YouTube videos. Nobody sat next to me and tell me, click here, click there, do this, do that. No. And I watched the same video and I stressed out and I couldn't get it and I hated it until I got it.
Mm-hmm. I know and there's a ton of information there. I mean, what a huge market for it. By the way, guys, we're live with Stefania now. If you have questions, feel free to post them and we'll get them answered. I think we got a comment came in here. John Diaz said, great information. Yeah, that's so, and it's a lot of times we know these things and just it's a lot of it just to kind of just kick your butt to start doing it. We learn so much. And there's so much content out there. There's so many things to learn. The law of diminishing returns says the longer that list gets, the less likely we are to do anything. So tell us about the discipline that you had. Like you said, you learned everything from watching videos. Did you kind of just like say, I want to learn how to shoot with my iPhone better, with my, let me watch videos on that. I want to learn how to use this editing software. Did you focus on one thing at a time so that you didn't get lost in the clutter, or did you just kind of learn it as it got thrown at you? Tell us about that process.
I think it's a little bit about both. The key factor is do not be a perfectionist. Perfectionist people don't get far. Okay, if you have the hair crooked, if it's not the right angle, if I film like this, don't focus on being perfect, because nobody cares about how perfect your content is. You're not in Hollywood. You just want to share information. Of course, high quality content do engage more. That's true. But if you don't do the step by step and break that wall with yourself, because people say, oh, I hate how I sound. Guess what? Just post it. Oh, I don't like how I look. You look great. It's like sometimes people are their worst criticisms.
Yeah.
So honestly, I just started playing around, and also TikTok is a great platform to learn. So how to shoot with an iPhone, what is a 0.5 angle, what is a 10 angle, how to be with the light, how to be against the light. I bought a gimbal. I never used how to work a gimbal. I started watching videos about a gimbal. Now I have the content. How do I edit it? Well, let me start with the most basic editing, CapCut on your cell phone. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then you start going through the most complex editing softwares to the most complex way to film. You grab the gimbal and you do the movement. So it goes like in and out and zoom and the music. But that comes with time. So short answer, I think, is it's everything at the same time as I'm needing to do it.
Little by little over time. Learn what you need to do for the time being, but never stop learning, right? Just kind of, school is never out for the motivated. I love that. Again, guys, we're live. Feel free to post your questions or comments here. So tell us a little bit about, because I always have this thing I tell people, there's so many vanity metrics out there. There are so many, real estate professionals and business people. It's really common in real estate where people are going for likes and follows and all that kind of stuff, and it's not turning into business. I always tell people to be careful that you're not going for vanity metrics. So tell us about your process that actually converts it into business. I mean, you're saying that you're doing this instead of door knocking, instead of cold calling, which, by the way, it's got to be a lot more fun. And what's your process look like? Are you maintaining a schedule and just being consistent? Are you putting offers out there? Are you sliding them into a DM and moving them to be a client? How's that process behind the scenes look for you?
I think, to be honest, and I understood this a couple of months ago. Here's the thing. People post in social media because they expect only to get leads from social media. The truth is that social media is so powerful that even if you didn't get a lead through social media, just the fact that they keep on seeing you, keep seeing that you're active, keep seeing that you're closing deals, providing information, doing house tours, the lead is more likely to convert because of your online presence. Okay, so that's number one. People post 3 videos and they expect to sell a $5 million property. No, it doesn't work like that. Maybe 5 years down the line, posting consistently, maybe yes. But this is a very, like a turtle. Like, this is a very, very, very slow process in order for you to get clients. Do I get clients on my DMs and comments? Yes. It takes time, like any other client that I will meet in an open house or like, you just have to nurture the lead. And as you said, the follows, the likes, and all of that, I don't focus on that much. What I focus more is on the engagement.
Sure.
Right? If I post an amazing video, it has 50,000 views, 5,000 views, whatever it is, but it has 3 comments, or nobody DM me about a video, then I don't know if it's good or bad. It's just not generating business, right? So I think you have to go by really connecting with the right people, and also really pay attention. If your business is local, mine is local. I don't need, maybe can convert somebody from Texas following me. Yeah, maybe if the person is thinking about moving, but if they're not, it's useless for me. So follow very well. If your business is local, things that are very, very local. It doesn't matter if it doesn't get as much views or follows and all of that, but those are the people that are more likely to convert.
Sure. So, well, Miami, the interesting thing about Florida, I think in general, is we have a lot of out of town buyers coming. We have a lot of transit people selling, moving to other areas, buying from other areas. And I think there's a big opportunity for you kind of getting the story of your community out there. And I think you've done well with that. So, I mean, if you were going to put a strategy out there, do you have a certain daily strategies, certain videos you like to do between community videos, listing videos, things like that to kind of break it up? And how often do you want to put content out there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, as much of a plan that I have, and I say on Monday, I'm going to film this, on Tuesday, no, like on Monday, a pipe broke. I have to figure this out. Business gets in the way, life happens. I do try to mix, and I sit down with the person that's helping me. Hey, we need to mix the content, this. Maybe in a week that I know it might be slow for me, I go out there and I bench film. So it's the whole week filming, boom, 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 like a lot. And then I just send everything to him and say, hey, this is how I want this structure. This is what this is the whole thing. Because in my business, it's not an office building business. You have to be out there on the street and showings and this and that. And sometimes you really don't have the time. Every week on Tuesday, for example, me, I'm talking personally. Some people do, and I honestly, I admire them. Every Tuesday, I'm going to film. It depends, but I am committed to posting every day.
So something every day. So that's kind of just the loose kind of commitment you gave to yourself, is to post something every day. But that doesn't mean you're always filming in one day. Sometimes you're going to film a bunch of content. at one time, and then you can drip it out over time.
Yes,
Mm.
and I think that's the best way. If you can film everything for an entire month in
Mhm.
1 2 days, do it. And you
Yeah.
get it done so fast, especially women. We have to get ready, hair, dress, makeup,
Yeah.
da 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 da. Film, and that's it for a
Yeah,
whole
so
month.
that's what we do with Sky Limitless Media. That's the company I'm a partner with. We will show up for one day to film with someone, and we make sure that we get a ton of content done. So they have a lot of stuff in one day or a half a day. You could film a lot of stuff if you plan it, if you know what you're doing. I mean, even things like this. So these interviews and the being 15, 30 minutes, whatever they are. Sometimes you can get like a lot of little 30, 60-second clips in them. So it's
Oh,
just a matter.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's a matter of just having an awareness of it. So what are some of the types of content that you put out there, the various different things that you look to produce?
So I'm focusing a lot because also I've been learning in the sense of the luxury real estate industry, which is very different. The industry that I work with in New York may not be the exact same as here.
Hmm.
Everything applies, but in a different level.
Sure.
So the type of content also, you have to really think who's your ideal client and what does this client is interested in, right? If I only provide value for example, first time home buyers, which by the way I love them because I love to hold people by the hand and walk them throughout the entire process. That's the type of client that I'm going to attract. If I explain, oh, how to buy your first apartment, how you to buy your first home, I know that usually the first home is not going to be a $10 million mansion. Okay, so you really have to start from back to the to now, to what's your
Hmm.
goal.
Hmm.
So in my career now in the luxury real estate market, I do like to provide value, but most of my clients in the luxury and high end, they already know how to buy, they already know how to sell, right? They just want a professional that's really talented and knows how to do everything and trustworthy and have the right network. So
Hmm.
that's what they care more about from
Hmm.
my experience.
Hmm.
Okay, so I try to do mostly video tours. They love watching other properties, maybe they're thinking of buying, or tips on how to improve the value of their property at the time of the sale. Like, I try to mix in a little bit here and there. Also, we're in Florida, so we do get a lot of out of the country buyers and
Sure.
sellers. So
Hmm.
that's another option to target them. And with pre-construction buildings, I show them what Florida is about, but mostly on the luxury market.
Hmm. Yeah, because I see you're doing it a lot. With condos, you're giving information about the building, about what people can expect in the area. There's a lot of stuff happening in the community. I thought you did something on, an art show was in town, things like that. Have you? I mean, well, I'm super passionate about. It mentioned in your bio that you're a big foodie. You like food, and you're all about health and wellness and experience and things like that. Are you incorporating that into your content as well and attracting those types of clientele?
Absolutely, yeah. You have to show what this city is about, and that you are a very well knowledge person in the local market. So I do share what to do on a specific holiday. I do share the top new restaurants that show in the city. This city is growing so fast that every day there is a new restaurant. There is a new Indian restaurant in Wynwood that I can't wait to try. So of course you have to share that as well, because also people get tired only like video tour. You have to vary. Bottom line, you have to vary the content, but always direct it to your ideal client.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's I think because people, real estate's about more than just the place you're going to be living, your four walls. It's so much more. And I think if we, as agents, if you start doing a great job of communicating what's special about your area, and it's one of the last local businesses where you live there and you work there. So I mean, you must think it's pretty great.
I love it here. I love it. Anybody that asks me, "Oh, you regret?" I'm like, "Regret what? I love it." I mean, it's amazing. I'm sure there are other nice places in the world, but I'm loving it here. Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic.
It's
Well,
easy to sell. It's easy to. There is not much selling. It's you have to go with the service.
I think real estate in general doesn't require much selling if you're
No.
providing the information. So, like, hey, what makes it great in this area? So, I mean, on that note, what magic will we be expecting from Stefania in the future? And by the way, I dropped in the comments down there just Stefania's website if you guys want to connect with her. It's good to always have a luxury Miami realtor in your back pocket if you don't already. So, and what magic can we look forward to coming from you in the future?
Well, I mean, you see, like people always expect the next good thing in life or in business or in anything. And I think the key to every success is being persistent,
Mm-hmm.
consistent, and disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my magic lands there, really, to keep working on my social media, keep
Mm-hmm.
improving my branding,
Uh,
and always find ways to make things a little bit better, never too perfect, because otherwise you don't do it. So stay in the area with local news, what's new in the city, what new ways. Always, you have to always be informed. Also, now mortgages are changing, not the rates only, but the type of mortgages. Especially here, we manage different type of mortgages for out of the country or people
sure.
that don't have. Like you have to be very informed. So I think the magic lands into be very knowledgeable.
Yeah, so school's never out for the motivated. You're going to continue to learn. You're going to continue to build your brand and your social media, and we're looking forward to that. Is there so if there's any advice you had to give somebody, then we'll leave everybody with this great piece of wisdom from Stefania, from anybody coming in from another country that's struggled, from anybody in real estate, for an entrepreneur out there, for somebody, a young person that wants to follow their dream and maybe they feel like a fish out of water, out of place. Anything that you wish somebody would have told you back then that you'd like to share with everybody today?
I will say dream big from the beginning. From the beginning.
Yeah.
Because some people say, oh, I'm going to start with these very little and then I'm going to grow slowly. No, dream big from day one. And honestly, help yourself with vision boards, reading and listening to other people's stories, that how they did it. For me personally, that motivates me so much, especially when you don't see the end, when you don't see things happening. That's what I would do. I do think I wish I would have started into the luxury industry a longer, much more longer.
Yeah, you because sometimes we're new and we're saying we don't want to work with those multi-million dollar clients. I remember when I was in real estate and I was calling for sale by owners, and I was always intimidated to call the ones in northern Queens over there, like in Malba, that were $4 million houses. And I called one by accident one time, and they were very nice. And I went over there, and they were so impressed with me and thought I was amazing compared to the agents they were talking to. And I was just thinking I never would have called them had I known what I was calling. And I shied away from it. And that was that was a pivotal thing for me. And I'm like, man, what if I would have started doing that sooner? So that's
And honestly, society also has a very when it comes to wealthy individuals, society has a thing like they're not nice and they're difficult to work with. I'm gonna say it's easier to work with. The challenges are different though, um, but none of that. Like it's because most of them are numbers persons. It
yeah,
makes sense. It doesn't make sense. They're not gonna be complaining about $5 faucet.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's not so much
Like
not so emotional.
yeah, no, it's I love it. I love it. And no shame to any type of social income or anything. I just wish back then I would have started on the right on the
Mhm.
dream big. But I also have to say, when I first started, I was broke. So you do need a large budget if you want to dream big. So there is some sort of you have to be a little realistic in some aspects.
Yeah.
So if you have the budget a little bit to sustain yourself for 6 months to a year and put into the marketing and advertisement, dream big.
That's right. Look, dream big from the beginning, and go with the tenacity and be driven to get there. And I think enjoying the process. It's not always fun, but it seems like you enjoyed the journey more or less. I mean, was it a good journey for you?
I enjoy the progress. And that's the key. Some people focus a lot on the goal. And when you don't hit the goal, when you want it, because you said this time, this day, I'm going to hit this goal, then you get discouraged, disappointed. No,
Yeah.
you have to break it into parts and celebrate every stepstone. You guys also showed me a great tool that I don't know if you've shared with your audience before, the 411. I use it to this day.
Perfect. Yeah. A goal to action worksheet. For the guys not familiar, that's a goal to action worksheet. Just identifying what you need to do, getting it done, making sure that stuff you're doing all the right things. I mean, it shows in what you're doing with social media and kind of knocking it out of the park. And I like you said, celebrating the progress, right? So it's not looking for those home runs all the time, but just little improvements along the way, little base hits, celebrating the small successes. And that small success for you guys after listening to this today might be, I'm going to put my first video out there and I'm not going to care how I look or sound, and congratulations on that. And so that's
pour yourself a glass of wine and post. That's it. And then you're gonna be like, it's simple. It's simple, but you have to
get a little tipsy and get out there and do it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for joining us today. This was so good, so fun, and I think so necessary for people to hear. And somebody's out there that's going to hear it and be like, man, I'm so inspired. And we can't wait to hear those stories. Yeah. Is there anything else that last minute questions, anybody out there that has a last minute question? Otherwise, afterwards, if you still post a question, we'll be able to respond and get to it.
Yeah, they can reach out to me for anything. info@stefaniamogollon.com. If they heard this interview and they have more questions, I'll be happy to help anybody on any industry as much as I can, because I have been there, lost. So you have to pay it forward in life.
That's I've dedicated my whole life to that. So I appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. And if nobody has any other questions, any parting words from you, Stefania, and then we'll let everybody be on their merry way.
Absolutely. No, it's all fine.
Thank you for joining us, and best of luck to you. I think it's wonderful what you've done. Thank you for sharing it. So Nicole said, thank you for putting this on, Chris. You're welcome, Nicole. Nicole, she's another, she's an immigrant here from Germany. She's doing real estate over there in Tampa. Thank you, Stefania.
Oh, let's connect, Nicole. Send me an email.
Luz Angela, hello, guys. Remember, she's from our old office. Hey, Angela.
Yeah, everybody that's here and our realtors in other cities, please send me an email. I'm always looking for referral realtors. Tampa, Nicole, please email me.
Yes, absolutely. So if you need somebody in Miami, Stefania's sharp. She's bilingual. She does luxury. So whatever you need. Listen, everything Miami real estate, call Stefania. I'm a believer. Thank you for sharing your journey with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Bye.